I don't know, I'm looking at people on here that I don't know. Oh, when it's that bad. Yeah, yeah. And then they took them down and
I might have a shovel.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't think better. My dad was 4 years. I'm not 4.
Actually.
But then I would have like the yeah, you definitely do. You're just kind of flying right now.
I literally have negative.
No big deal.
I literally.
All right, guys. So we are going to learn something new today as well as tomorrow. And then we'll have a practice quiz on Wednesday. That'll be all of chapter 5. So what we did last week, we did it a couple of days. We did section 5.1, 5.2, now 5.3 and 5.4. You'll have a quiz on that then on Thursday. So today we're going to learn about inverse functions and relations. And so basically what happens, the inverse relation is a set of ordered pairs. And how you get that is today we're going to be exchanging the coordinates if they give us ordered pairs. So this is super easy. If they give you 2 ordered pairs or several ordered pairs, like in example 1 here, all you do when you go to find the inverse of something is you switch your X and Y coordinate. So this would become -2, -10. This would become 6, -7. This would become -2, -4. And then this, when you switch it, would be 0, -4. So this type of question is pretty easy. So again, all we would do is switch our X and our Y. And the last one would be 8, 7, and that would be our answer. This here shows us if they give you ordered pairs and you graph it on the line. Or if you graph it on a coordinate plane, so they're giving us 3 points. And what they want us to do is graph these 3 points first and connect the dots. Okay, so let's do that first. If we go to 1, -2, that's going to be right here. 2, 5 is over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 4, -1 is over 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. Okay, so what is going to happen here when we plot these points is we're going to get a figure. Okay, then what they want us to do is find the inverse of this, which again is found just by switching the order of these, switching the X and Y, and then plot those points. So this would be -2, 1. This one would be 5, 2. And this one would be -1, 4. Okay, so if I go and plot that on here, -2 up 1 goes here over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up 2 is here. And -1 up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is right here. Okay, and then we're going to graph that triangle, and that is what we would get. Now what they want to do is have us say, what's the relationship between these? And one thing that you're going to notice today, when you graph a function and its inverse, it is going to be a reflection over this line. And this line right here is the line y equals x. Like if you plotted the line y equals x, it would start at 0 and the slope is 1, so it would go up 1 over 1. So in all of our graphs today, what we start with, we're going to be plotting lines more than figures, but what we start with and what our inverse is should be reflections over the line y equals x. If they are not, then that means you've done something wrong. Okay. So another type of problem that you're going to get today is they're going to have you graph a function, and then they're going to have you graph it on a coordinate plane. And then they're going to have you find the inverse of a function, and we'll talk about how to do that. These are the directions for doing that. And then we're going to plot the inverse on a coordinate plane. And when you're done, you can tell if you did it wrong because your lines would not be a reflection over the line y equals x. So to start out, the way that these problems are going to look, they're going to give you a function. And so it's going to have like f of x or g of x or h of x. And the first thing you have to realize is that is the same thing as y equals 1/4 x plus 2. Okay, it's the same exact thing. And if I went to graph this, this is in slope intercept form, which I put down here. Remember, the number in front of your x is your slope, and the number at the end here is your y-intercept. That y-intercept tells us where it crosses the y-axis. Okay? So, put your phones away, please. So what we're going to do is we are going to graph this line. Its slope is 1/4. Its y-intercept is 2. Okay, so we're going to go up to the y-intercept, which is 2, and we're going to go up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 1.
Okay.
You don't need them.
No.
And then up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. And so this is going to be your line. And during work time today, I'll have you guys use a ruler. And especially on the quiz on Thursday, I'll have you guys use a ruler. When I have you guys graph lines, I want your line to include the entire graph and then also use a ruler if you're in class and you have one. The same thing as going up 1 and over 4 is the same as going down 1 and left 4. So you can continue and get accurate points and then graph this line. Okay. And again, when you guys turn these in, I want your line to cover the entire graph and have accurate points. Then what we're going to do is find the inverse of that function. And these rules right here tell us how to do that. The first thing we're going to do, I did already, we replaced f of x with y. Okay. The second rule is you switch your x and y. So when I do that, I would get x equals 1/4 y plus 2. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing you do is you solve your equation for y. So we have to get it in the terms where it's y equals mx plus b so we can graph it. So what I'm going to do is subtract 2. I'm going to get rid of that 2 first. And I have x minus 2 equals 1/4 y. Okay, then what I have to do is I have to get rid of that 1/4 in front of that. And how you can do that is if you multiply 1/4 times 4, 1/4 of 4 is just 1, so that gets rid of this. And because I multiplied by 4 on the right side, I have to multiply by 4 on the right. Now on the right side, we're just left with y. Here I have to distribute that 4. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so when I go to graph this one, remember what's in front of your x is your slope, and that's 4/1. And what's left over is your y-intercept. And then here, I should have talked about this earlier. The way that I explain slope is if it's positive, you go up and to the right. That's the way I do it. If it's negative, you go down and to the right. But if you learned it some way differently with a different teacher, just follow what makes sense to you. So now we're gonna go ahead and plot that on here. So we're gonna go down to where b is -8, put a dot. And again, if our slope is positive, we're gonna go up and to the right. So we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1, and keep doing that. And then, like I said, I'll have you guys grab a ruler. And when you're done, that is your graph. When you're done, how you can tell is if you folded this graph on this line, like notice how these two are gonna map onto each other. These two are gonna map onto each other. Okay, if it's not like that, that means you graphed one of them wrong. Okay. So let's go to this one. Again, the first step we're always gonna do is we're gonna replace the f of x with y. Now, this one to graph, you have to graph that original function. What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this into 2 separate numbers so we can tell what our slope is and what our y-intercept is. This is really 1x. So when I take that and kind of put it into a fraction, it's gonna be 1/2 x, 1/2, and then I have my x. Then it's minus 6 divided by 2 is 3. And now that's in a way that we can graph it. So notice our slope is 1/2. Our y-intercept is a -3. So if I go to plot that at -3, I would put a dot, 1, 2, 3, and then my slope is up 1/2. And I can keep doing that. And like I said, when you guys do this, especially on the test, I'm picky about graphs, so make sure you have a lot of points and you use a ruler. Okay, now what we're gonna do is take that function and we're going to take this right here and we're going to switch our x and our y. So when I do that, I would get x equals y minus 6 divided by 2. Okay. Now I could separate that into 2 separate parts, but an easy way to get rid of that 2 on the bottom would be to just multiply both sides by 2. What happens there then is this 2 and that 2 cancel. And then on the left, I would have 2x. On the right, I would have y minus 6. And what I'm trying to do is solve for y so that I can tell what my slope and my y-intercept are. So then I'm going to get rid of the -6 by subtracting 6. And y would equal 2x plus 6. Okay, what that tells me then is my slope is 2/1 and my y-intercept is 6. So if I go to the graph, I'm going to go up to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then my slope is 2/1. So I'm going to go up 2/1, up 2/1, which is the same as down 2/1. So you can continue that pattern. And then draw your line. And again, when you're done, you have to think about if you folded this over this line, would these two match and would these two match? And they would. All right, so if we look at this one, again, what we're doing first, this one's easy to just graph right away. So this one, if I think of this as y equals 3x minus 9, my slope would be 3/1 and my y-intercept would be -9. So if I go down to -9, I go down to -9, my slope is going to be up 3/1, up 3/1, up 3/1. And if I keep doing that, this line is going to look like this. Okay, then what I need to do is find the inverse of this. So how I'm going to do that is switch my x and y. So I'd get x equals 3y minus 9. And then to solve that, I'm going to try to solve for y. So I add 9. Okay, and I get 3y equals x plus 9. Now what happens there is I need to solve for y, so I'm going to divide by 3. And the 3's are gone. And again, to graph this, we need to separate this into two separate terms. And this is 1x. So how I would think of that is 1/3 x plus 9 divided by 3 is 3. So when I go to graph this one, my slope would be 1/3, my y-intercept would be 3. So I am going to go up to 1, 2, 3, where my y-intercept is. I go up 1/3, up 1/3, and keep doing that pattern, which is the same as down 1, left 3. And then we can plot this. And like I said, you can tell if you did it right if it's a reflection over this line. Okay. Now there's one more type of problem that we need to do. And what this one is they are going to give us two different functions and ask us if they are inverses of one another. Okay. So here's what you would do. They're giving us f of x and g of x. And what you're going to do is find the composition of f circle g of x, like we did last week, and find g circle f of x. And we're going to see if those two equal x. If they both equal x, that means these are inverses of one another. If you do one of the compositions and you know you did it correctly and it does not equal x, that means they're not inverses of one another. Okay, so when you do the composition of f of g of x, what happens is, we talked about this last week, you put your g into your f. Okay. So in for x in the f, I'm going to put 1/2 x plus 1. So I get 2 times. And in there, I put the g of x, 1/2 x plus 1. And then I have -2. Okay, now I'm going to distribute that 2. Half of 2 is going to be 1. So this is just going to give me x plus 2 times 1 is 2. And then I have minus 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. So this is x. So far it's looking like it is a inverse. If this was not x and you were sure you did this correctly, then it would not be an inverse. Okay. Now if I go down here, I'm going to find the other composition where I have my G first. So what happens in there is you take your F and you put it in for X in the G. So I'm going to go 1/2, and where I have my X here, I'm going to put in 2x minus 2, and then I have the plus 1 on the end. Now, when I go to do that, I'm going to distribute 1/2. Okay, 1/2 of 2 is 1, so that's just x. 1/2 of 2 is 1 again, and then plus 1. The -1 plus 1 is x, and what your final answer is just saying yes or no. Do you have an inverse or not? Because f of g of x was x and g of f of x was x, our answer is yes, that they are inverses of one another. Okay, so let's try this one. Again, what we would do is we would take our g of x and put it into x in the f of x. So what we would do is we'd take 3. In here, we'd go 1/3 x minus 3 plus 9. Okay, 3 times 1/3. 1/3 of 3 is 1. And if you don't know how to do that, well, this is pretty obvious, because if you went 3 times 1/3, the 3 on the top and the 3 on the bottom cancel. But if you ever get where you're multiplying by a fraction, you can go to a calculator and go 3 times 1 divided by 3. And that will give you your answer. Like on a graphing calculator, you can always do this. But I think most of them that we have today, they're going to be pretty easy. So 1/3 of 3 is just 1, so that's x. 3 times 3 is 9, and then this is plus 9. -9 plus 9 is 0, so this is x. So again, looking like it's going to be a function or an inverse. Now, if I go to this next one, I have to take my f of x and put it into x here. So that would be 1/3 times, and then I put the f of x in there. And then minus 3. Okay. Now what I would do is distribute. Okay. 1/3 times 3 again is just x. 1/3 of 3 is just 1. Now, if you do 1/3 times 9, you could do that on your calculator, or you're just thinking of 3 goes into 9 how many times, and 3 goes into 9 3 times, so that would be 3. If you wanted to do that on a calculator, you would go 1 divided by 3 times 9. And then it would tell you that that's 3. And then we bring down the minus 3, plus 3 minus 3 cancel. So this is x. So the final answer is this an inverse? And because they're both yes, or I'm sorry, they're both x, your answer is yes. So now if we go to our last page here, if we look at this one, here again, we have to put our g of x into our f of x. So we're going to take this and put it into x there. So we have 4 times, and we're going to put this whole thing in parentheses. And then we still have the plus 8. Okay. What happens here is the 4's cancel. On top, we have left with x minus 6, and then we have plus 8. Now, what happens in this one, -6 plus 8 do not cancel. So what we get is x plus 2. If you're sure that you did that work correctly, you could stop there and just say, no, this is not going to be an inverse. If you're not sure and you want to go down and do this one and make sure that that one also is not x, you could do that. Okay? But if you're certain you did the work correctly here and this is not x, then you know it's not an inverse. Then if we look down at this last one, what we would do first is take the g of x and put it in for x. So we would get 3 times 1/3 x plus 6, subtract 18. Okay, 3 times 1/3 again is just 1, so that's x. 3 times 6 is going to be 18. And then I have the minus 18. So these cancel and that's x. Then if I go to my other one, I'm going to take my f of x and put it in here for g of x. So I have 1/3 times 3x minus 18 plus 6. 1/3 of 3 is 1, so that's just x. 1/3 of 18. If you think of this, you're looking at how many times does 3 go into 18, and it goes in there 6 times. And then you have your plus 6. Otherwise, you could have gone to your calculator, 1 divided by 3 times 18. Those cancel, so it is x, and yes, we do have an inverse. I just want to mention one thing. I'm not sure if I should post my keys or not. I know some of you are just copying down the answers from the key. And I think the writing comes out when you take your quiz. I can tell some people I just see doing it. Some people, I can tell when I correct your quizzes that you're not doing your homework yourself. I post the key for the kids that care and want to check their answers. But unfortunately, I think some of you are taking the key and just being lazy. So your test on your quiz on Friday or Thursday, sorry, is going to have a lot on it. So if I were you, I would not be doing that. And then also I want you to stay where you're at because I put grade room yesterday. And some of you that are moving are not working. So for now, I just want you to stay and work.